My name is Eric Hayward, and this is my Communications 3325 informative speech on just what is affirmative action. I would like to welcome everybody to this new employee presentation, and I hope that everyone is well, and that everybody in attendance will receive something from each of the individual mini presentations that is presented to you this morning on several different topics. The first of these presentations is going to be briefly on what is affirmative action and how it can create a more diverse workplace, and the fact that it's designed to actually affect everybody, not just a few select people over time. So what exactly, or in general, is the affirmative action law? The affirmative action law is basically a law that requires employers to consider the diversity of their workplace and to hire people that are not equally represented in their workplace in order to create this more diverse environment. Just what do we mean by a diverse environment? And how does this help employers? Well, a diverse environment, particularly when it comes to affirmative action, is when you have different races and different sects and even different religions represented in your workplace. So if you happen to be in Houston, you would probably have managers who are Hispanic and speak Spanish as being represented as part of your managerial team, whereas other places you might not. But you always have to consider their different backgrounds so that you have this diverse environment, not just their technical book background and what they've done in the past, but also the fact that you need this diverse ethnical and racial background in order to meet the legal requirements of the law itself, and also to create this diverse environment that will ultimately help all of your employers and your customers as well. So just how can the affirmative action assist in this diversity? Well, by requiring that the employers consider all of these factors on top of what they may traditionally want. So they may want all white males for their managerial positions, which was a very traditional view to have up until this law went into effect. Instead, they have to consider females that may be equally ready for the position, or they may have to consider other races, whether they be black or Asian or Hispanic, for these positions. So if you're hiring a lot of Hispanics in your employee background, you probably definitely want to have some Hispanic speaking people in your managerial staff. And if all of your other previous managers were all white males, they probably did not have a very broad knowledge of Spanish. And this would be one of those factors that you would probably need to consider in hiring new people for a new managerial position within the company. Ultimately, by hiring this broad range of people, be it the race, their sex, or even their religious backgrounds, you can help all of your constituents better in the long run, and to solve any of the problems that the company may come upon as it encounters them, instead of having to go outside the company itself and hire consultants in order to solve these different problems. So just how can affirmative action be applied to everybody? I traditionally stated that in a lot of cases it was actually applied to females and to non-whites, particularly where the old jobs were all filled by white males. But in today's environment, things have become a lot more diverse already. And it's not normally as important now to consider these other factors, but you have to consider the factors nonetheless, because the law requires you to. So you can't go back to the old ways of hiring all male, white males for your managerial staff because you want to, but instead have to continue to hire different people with different backgrounds instead. So how does this apply to everybody? Since I keep talking about whites, or non-whites and females with affirmative action. And the answer is, because the law itself requires anybody be considered for the position, then everybody has to be considered. So you may have a case where you have all females in the managerial position because that's the way they brought the company up. In that case, they would have to consider a male on their staff instead. Some people might consider this discriminatory. It's, in some ways, yes, it might be, but in reality, it just creates a much more diverse workplace and allows you to have many different perspectives on the environment. So what all would I like you to have gotten out of this brief presentation? Number one, I would like you to have gotten a brief, very brief background of just what is affirmative action and what it can do. Number two, I would like you to understand what is diversity and why is diversity good for you and for the company as well. And number three, I would like for you to understand that affirmative action applies to everybody and not just a select few. So I appreciate all of your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentations that we have for you today. Thank you very much.